Hi everybody, thanks for tuning into another video on TK's Tech Corner. Today we're going to be taking a look at this controller here from EasySMX, brand new X20. This is a traditional game controller, not a mobile controller, but it does support multiple platforms, including mobile platforms such as Android, iOS. We can see some of the list there on the packaging. Also PC and Switch as well. Now it supports 3 connectivity modes. It supports 2.4 gigahertz wireless connectivity, and I believe it will come with a dongle, so we'll check that out. The wireless mode, Bluetooth mode, and also wired mode. So try connectivity mode there. It does say that it includes, as we can see there, it includes the receiver as well. So we'll open it up, we'll test it out, we'll check out the features. So what we're getting here is we're getting a controller here that is priced very reasonably, currently at £47 on the website, and there are discounts available. But now we're getting features of, pro gaming controllers at a more affordable price point for the general consumer. So at that price point, we're talking about RGB lighting, Hall effect triggers, Hall effect sticks, adjustable heights on the sticks. We've got trigger locks. We've got 4 programmable macro buttons on the back of the controller, and that's a lot of features for something that's coming in at under 50 quid. So they sent this for review, and I think it's on pre-order at the moment. I can't remember if it's actually out or not, but let's just test it out, see what it's all about. We'll test it on maybe Steam Deck and Switch. Let's see how we go anyway, and decide what to test it on as we go along. First things first, let's get this thing out of the box and just see what it's all about. Love the RGB lighting is still on there. They started that on the, I think it was the X05, carried it on with the X15 where it had a bit more lighting on it, and now on the X20 we're still seeing just as much lighting as we saw on the X15. So there's the controller, looks really nice. Looking at the buttons there, they look really cool, so I'm guessing they're going to light up. I like the black on white. Controller is predominantly white in color, as you can see there. Now in the box we have got the receiver, so the 2.4 gigahertz wireless receiver is there, and it's got a pairing button on it as well. We've got a USB-C cable for wired mode. That looks quite long. That's at least 2 meters, if not 3. We've got an instructions manual which we may need for some programming. I'll just get the boxes aside. So the first thing we'll do is we'll just walk our way through the controller. Now, the initial impressions on holding this beauty is I love the rubberized grips here. It's not going all the way around, but just where you rest your palms, where you need that grip and traction while you're moving your thumbs to all the buttons. You've got the really soft rubberized grip, as you can see there. And it blends very nicely into the plastic body. Trying to get my camera to focus. Then we've got a really smooth matte white plastic shell the rest of the way around. We've got really fine texture on the grips at the bottom. I'm hoping you can see some of that. If I get close enough, there you go, you can see it now. So we've got really fine textured grips on the bottom as well. I'm going to come back to the bottom in a minute. The D-pad, so we've got micro switches. They feel absolutely crisp. They're not super loud either, which is nice. Micro switches, we've got micro switches for ABXY. We've got micro switch shoulder buttons as well. So a whole host of tactile micro switches all the way around. And I think EasySMX call these mecha tactile switches. We've got Hall effect analog triggers there. These feel buttery smooth, and there's a secret to these that I'm going to come to in a minute when I go to the back. On the face, we've also got the analog sticks here. Now these feel very nice. I like the fact that we've got metal sticks here now, and you can see what's going on there. I'll talk about that in a minute, but it's height adjustable. So we've got the glide rings. We've got RGB glide rings, so they're plastic. They're going to let some light through, and we'll look at that when we turn it on. And then the metal running on the plastic, which is really nice. I think that's probably some sort of an alloy. It feels very smooth when you've got metal on plastic like that. No need for any Teflon strips this time around. I like the shape of the I'm just going to take that off because why not, right? I love the shape of that thumbstick there, and the fact that you can take these off means you're probably going to be able to get some other one in the future as well, right? If you ever need to replace them, or maybe a different shape or size, or length. Look at that. So you've got the grip there. It's exactly like the Xbox 360 one. That's not focusing very well, is it? It's quite dark in the room. I've just got a floodlight on, and I like that fact that the caps are concave, as you can see that there. I don't like convex caps, so these are concave. Now while I've got it off, let's just see what's going on here, right? So it says on the packaging these are removable. Now you can see that slit going across from left to right, and if we look in here, what you can see is you've got that similar pattern on the inside of that stick, right? So depending on which way you fit it, you can adjust the height of these ever so slightly. Now we're talking about a few millimeters worth of adjustment, but these things do make a difference. Now once it's in, it's in. It's not going to be coming out very easily when you're playing. If I want to raise it up a little bit, I can do that. Now you can see that's raised. So depending on your preference, you can have it raised or lowered. Raised does feel quite nice, but it feels unnatural for me because I'm used to using standard depth sticks. So I'm going to push that back in. But they both feel very, very nice. Now, the clicking on the R3 and L3, also tactile. I don't know if they're the same mecha tact. They're not the same switches, to be honest. They don't sound like it, at least. But they're very, very nice and soft to touch. They're not requiring too much pressure, and they are engaging from all angles, as you can see that very, very easily. No problem there whatsoever. We've got the home button with the actual home logo on it rather than the EasySMX logo, which now is just on the top. We've got some buttons here. Some of these are probably going to be used for programming the controller, as well as standard functions that you would see on your console. Let's go to the back because this is exciting. Look at that. Now, you would not normally see this on a sub £50 controller. Look at that. I'm going to come back to that again in a minute. Just a C port on the top there. Now, what is actually going on here? I think something comes off here, to be honest. No, maybe it doesn't. It looks like it does, but maybe it doesn't. So on the underneath, we've got a physical button for mode selection. Now you can see that there. You're going between Nintendo Switch, which is on the right, the Bluetooth mode in the middle, and the dongle mode, 2.4 gigahertz mode on the left, which is really, really nice. We've got 4 programmable buttons, so you can see that there. You can see the shape of them. 2 on the insides of the grip and 2 on the back of the controller. These are not mecha tactile. These feel like standard membrane switches. They feel very nice and soft indeed. And they're not so soft that they're going to get accidental presses on them. They do feel very nice. Now, this is the special thing about the triggers. So you can see this little slider here, right? And what this allows you to do is switch between, now again, we've seen the implementation of hair mode triggers through software where, you know, they engage at the slightest touch, but the problem is they still go all the way down. Now, you don't need to faff with options or apps anymore. You're literally just sliding that up and you're straight into a hair mode there. Now look at that. It's not going any further. Now you're, especially if you're playing Nintendo Switch or you're playing shooting games, you don't really need the analog movement of the trigger. You just want that thing to lock and engage straight away. Look at that, straight away. And when it is locked, it's got a mecha tactile button there as well, and you can hear that clicking away. Listen to that. How nice does that sound? You've got that on both of them, so you can lock both of them in, or you can have one analog, one locked in, however you like it. So that's customization that we want to see. No faffing or trying to remember which buttons to press or combinations to switch between devices. You can just switch between them there very, very comfortably. So just looking at the ABXY buttons, I really like what they've done. The ABXY numbering is actually really, really deep in, like on the bottom surface of these buttons. So you don't actually see it immediately, but I'm guessing when we turn this on and it lights up, we'll be able to see it. So what we'll do is I'm going to grab a Nintendo Switch. There's a Switch. And first thing we'll do, we'll try it out on the Nintendo Switch. So I'm going to put this into Nintendo Switch mode. I'll switch the selector all the way to the NS, and I'm going to press home button, see what happens now. That is lit up. Look at the RGB lighting on that. On the bottom there, we've got the, I guess it's going to show the which player number it is on the console for Switch, certainly. Look at the RGB lighting. They've kept that really, really soft matte, oh sorry, rather it is matte by the way, but that pastel effect for the lights, both on the glide rings as well as on the actual palm grips, and that looks absolutely fantastic. Now there may be an option to turn it on or off, I'm not sure. We'll get to that in a minute. But first things first, let's go and pair this up to the switch and see what happens. So I'm just going to try and pair this up. I don't know if I need to hit a pairing button or not. I may have to, but let's just try that once more because now I've got it in the right mode, and see if it will be, I've switched it off. See if it will be detected by the Nintendo Switch. And it probably is that I've got to hit a pairing button. I've had a really quick look at the manual, and I think what I've got to do with this is hold this button for 5 seconds. We may see now the lights are starting to flash quicker now, so you can see that there. I've got a vibration on there. The vibration is adjustable as well. I think there's different levels of vibration. I didn't talk about the D-pad size. The size of the D-pad is absolutely perfect. I've seen this on the last few EasySMX controllers. I've probably commented on it as well. Their D-pads just feel absolutely crisp. The weight on them is perfect. That is not going to fatigue you at all. I like the shape of them. Look how convex that controller, that D-pad is. Can you see that? Your thumb just nestles right in on that and it isn't going anywhere. It's the perfect size. I haven't got the biggest hands, but also haven't got the smallest, and that fits absolutely perfectly. And you can move every direction very, very comfortably. Minimum movement. It's very, very, very quick. Now this thing, just talking about quickness, is really, really fast. It's a lightning fast controller, and in wide mode you're getting a 1000 Hertz polling rate with a 3 millisecond ultra low latency response. So this thing is going to be very, very quick. Now you can just see what I was talking about there about the ABXY buttons. They're lit up. It's very, very deep. The lighting on those, I like that the black finish. I like the fact that they've done lighting on the ABXY buttons as well. Who knows, in a couple of controllers, maybe by the time we get to X30 or X35, we might have little OLED displays in there, and maybe you can switch AB and XY, or you can put some pictures in there to customize according to the games you're playing. Just an idea there for the controller manufacturers. Let's get some OLED displays in those buttons. How awesome would that be? Nothing wrong with fantasizing, right? So this is connected to the Switch. Now obviously the buttons are going to be the wrong way around. I have no idea what's going on there whatsoever. I'm just going to press home. We're going to go into Zelda because that's what's playing right now. And I'm at a boss, so that probably wasn't the greatest time to do this because I really don't want to die. You can see what's going on. It works really, really nice. And I've died really bad. Oh dear. I was just about to beat that boss as well. Motion controls are there, so we're just going to test out the gyros when I've started the game again quickly. So the game's on, and let's just quickly check out the gyro mode. So you can see the gyros working absolutely fine as well. No issues with that whatsoever, working exactly as we would expect it to work. How cool is that? Now the fact that I can lock these into, well, as I said, I can have this like this if I want, but for the Switch I'd want to lock these into hair mode and use these like Switch would want you to use them. Well, the Pro controller on the Switch is exactly like this, right? It's locked in anyway. So you're getting a better experience than a Pro controller here, in my opinion, personally, now, because you can lock these into the mode that they're supposed to be in from a Nintendo perspective, because Nintendo don't use analog triggers, and it just feels so right. Overall, quality-wise, this feels a lot nicer than the Pro controller. It feels like an Xbox or like a premium Xbox controller for your Nintendo Switch. So that's great. Now let's move on to the next device. Right, Android tablet ready. I say ready, it's not really ready, but there we go, it's here at least. We're going to switch this into Bluetooth mode because that's going to be the right mode for the Android tablet. And then we're going to hold home button, I guess. I'm guessing I'm going to hold it again for a few seconds. And while I do that, I'm going to get this into So I'm going to hold that until the light starts flashing fast, probably to show it's in a pairing mode. There we go, that was just a guess. And we're going to go to details, and hopefully we'll see the controller. So it's going to be scanning at the moment for controller. It's not come up yet. There it is, Xbox wireless controller. That's, I'm guessing, what it's going to be. Pair. Again, we've got a little vibration there, and the vibration does feel nice, to be honest. And it's paired. Right. So that looks like it's working absolutely fine. We're going to go into dead cells and just give it a go. Now, again, I've got these in hair mode at the moment because I think that's all I need for dead cells. So you can switch these triggers to whichever mode you want, depending on the game you're playing, right? Save games are being synchronized to cloud. Would you still like to continue? I want it to sync first before I do anything. Right. Looks like it's synced up now. Let's give this a go, just see how this works. Again, I wouldn't expect any issues here. Now, with the Android device, I could probably also use the 2.4 gigahertz receiver if I wanted to, for, you know, super latency sensitive people, which I probably am not. No, this is just such a good game anyway, so I'm not going to try not to get carried away too much. Am I going down? There we go. I'm talking to him. Honestly, this feels premium. This really, really is. And while I've been playing, I haven't touched the back buttons at all, even though I've had my hands on the grip. So I'm conscious of the fact that I haven't accidentally pressed them. The good thing is, these are very naturally accessible. So your finger can just slide from these ones. They've got very, very nice grips on them, by the way, straight over to these ones and back again. And you can engage them very easily just from in between as well. You can actually engage both of them. So you don't have to do too much crazy finger movement on the back. No, he's offering me some. Don't know what is he offering me. This is really cool. Really, really cool. Lovely controller. Just feels right. I think this is going to be my new probably daily driver for whatever it is that I'll be playing, because it really, really does feel so good. So I think what we'll do is we could quickly test out 2.4 gigahertz mode, because these do support wired controllers anyway. So let's just see how that goes. So with a dongle plugged in and the you can see the receiver's in, the light is flashing. I'm going to try and switch the mode and just see what happens. So I'm going to switch it all the way to the left, which is now the receiver mode. I don't know if this thing comes paired or not already, but let's just find out. It is paired. It's had a little wobble there. Now, again, I don't know if it's going to work straight or not, but no, it's not working there. So it's not supporting this in wired mode for whatever reason. But we're going to try it out on the Steam Deck. So here's a Steam Deck. I think it would have just worked on the Android, because I just quickly read the instructions manual while I was switching over, that if I hold the back and start button for a couple of seconds, I can switch between X input and D input mode. So if you need to do that, depending on what device you're using, that is an option that you can do. And the number of lights on the bottom indicates which mode you're in. So LED 2 and 3 indicate that you're in D input mode, and what we've got here, LED 1 and 2, indicates we're in X input mode. So this is plugged into the Steam Deck just using standard dongle. Again, exactly what I had plugged into my tablet a minute ago. And you can see this seems to be working absolutely fine. So wireless mode is working. Wired mode no doubt is going to work absolutely fine as well. You can see it's detecting a controller, and it's telling me what layout it's going to use as well. If it starts up, we'll give it a quick go and just see how it works. I don't expect any issues whatsoever. And then we'll go over some of the customizations that you can... Oh, there we go. We'll go over some of the customizations that are available as well, such as the lighting effects and also the vibration mode that you can toggle as well. So it's working, it's on, Street Fighter is running. I'm just going to start the game with whatever defaults are selected and move this up a little bit. I don't know if that's going to work or not, but there we go. And the controller here. I'm going to be Ken because I pretend to be good with Ken for whatever reason. Buttons feel really, really crisp, honestly. I can't, oh, they're so good, so nice. I really, really like their mecha tactile buttons on their controllers. Now again, for this beat 'em up, I don't need these analogs, so I'm leaving these in hair mode, to be honest. I normally use a D-pad when I'm playing fighting games, so now I get to try out the D-pad as well. We can just see how cool that is. Let's see how many fireballs I can get out. So far, just one. That's probably an indication of how bad I am. For whatever reason, I'm just not getting my moves out. Let's try with the analog stick. Maybe I should just use the analog stick. Look how precise that is. 5 fireballs in a row. That's precise. Not having as much luck with the D-pad for whatever reason. I want to just try a bit more with the D-pad just to see what's going on here. Because normally I do play with the D-pad, and with the last M15 controller I had absolute good success rate. So I'm not really sure what it is that I'm doing wrong here with the D-pad. Yeah, strange. With the analog stick, a lot more success. But there you can go. You can see we've tested this on 3 platforms now. Steam Deck working absolutely fine. Standard PC, Windows gaming, you're going to have no issues whatsoever as well. Android, iOS, no doubt it's going to work. I haven't got an iOS device here to test it out. But this, as it says on the tin, really well and truly is a multi-platform or controller with multiple connectivity options for each as well, from what I can see. So, you know, at that price point, you can't really argue. You can't really ask for more. For, you know, under 50 quid, you're getting something which is feature packed. You know, it's on its way. It's in between your average controller and a pro controller, I would say. Now we're going to just quickly mess around with programming of some of the macro buttons, and what I'll try and do is maybe I'll try and program them to ABXY just to see how they function, or maybe some combination buttons. At the moment they're doing nothing, right? So if I just pause the game there. So I spoke about the C button earlier on. The C button is the one that's used to do programming of all sorts of stuff. Well, let's start with the lights before I go on to actually programming the buttons for a second. That can just stay on in the background. So RGB lighting here, it says if we hold the C button, press and hold the C button, push down on the left joystick, that's going to be here, to adjust the lighting brightness. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. I don't think that's working at the moment. Press the C button, push down on the left joystick. Sorry, push down. I'm being silly. I'm pushing down. It means click. So you can see you can actually turn the lighting off, which is nice. If you're on your last bit of battery and you want to save some battery, or you're just getting distracted by the lighting, you can turn it off. And then you can turn it on there as well. And it's got 2 different modes of brightness. 3 actually. And then it goes off. So low, a bit brighter, super bright. Maybe it's hard to tell on the camera. And then off again. For vibration adjustment, you use the right stick. So C button and the right stick. Now pushing up and down. Now this is actually up and down. So it goes between 0%, 30%, 50%, 70%, and 100%. Now the motors on here are loud. Just to let you know, they really are loud. It's not subtle at all. But they do feel to be really good quality. I'm not really sure why they're so loud. Probably a bit unnecessary, but there we go. Maybe they definitely feel great. So No, it shouldn't be an issue. They're loud. It's loud when it's on the table. When it's in my hand, it's not that bad, to be honest, at all. Again, for programming, so one thing we can do is we can calibrate the triggers and joystick as well. So we can hold the C button and start button for 5 seconds, and then it will go into a little light show mode to let you know that it's in calibration mode, and then you can swivel these around to calibrate them basically. So if you shouldn't be getting any drift on these. These are Hall effect, so there should be no drift whatsoever, but if you do need to do some calibration, you can do so. Now for programming the back buttons, again, C button. So we hold the C button and hold the macro button for 5 seconds to enter a programming mode. So let's try that now. So I'm going to hold the C button and I'll try and program this one, for example, here. For 5 seconds, it's vibrated. Now the lights are flashing. Now while all the lights are flashing, I have to select a button that I want to program to it. So I'm going to just press this button, and then I have to press the C button again, plus the macro button again. So, and that is now being programmed. So now, if I've done it correctly, which I probably haven't, that should now be my... No, I've messed it up, haven't I? So let's try that once more, see if I can get it right. The C button and this button until it starts flashing blue. Right, I'm going to press A, and then I'm going to press C and macro again. And it's working. Well, I've programmed the wrong thing, but as you... Oh no, it is working actually. It's working absolutely fine. I made an absolute mess. Restore previous and close. So you can see that now when I'm pressing the back button, it's doing the kick operation, which I programmed it to do, which is medium kick, as was the A button. And so that's working absolutely fine. Look at that. Yeah, there we go. Still concerned why I'm not getting my fireballs out on the D-pad. I managed to get one out, I think. This does look very accurate from an analog stick perspective. It's super, but I just don't seem to be getting on the D-pad. So anyway, there we go. So let's just pause that for a second and get that off because we don't need that on anymore. And let's just go through the awesome features of this controller. Where is the power button? Another thing that's worth mentioning while I'm here and I've got the menu open is it's got gyroscope mapping as well. So you can map the gyro to an analog stick as well, either the left stick or the right stick, if you have a reason to do so. Maybe it will be useful in a mobile game, who knows, but the option is there. This has got a 1000 milliamp hour battery, which is huge. So this thing is going to last for some serious hours. And from a charge perspective, it says it should take 2 to 3 hours to charge on a standard current. So there you go. Really, really great controller from EasySMX X20. The link for this is going to be in the description below. Now, just quickly going through all of this, I think I've covered absolutely everything. Again, we're talking about a sub £50 controller. When they initially showed me this, I was very excited because I hadn't seen a controller with this many features at that price point. Trigger locking, a physical switch for trigger locking, as well as switching devices, 4 programmable buttons on the back which are just ready to go. You've got the detachable Hall sticks that you've seen, so you can adjust height on them. That works absolutely fine as well, and they don't come off once they're back on. You've got metal sticks and the RGB glide rings and RGB palm or the light strips here as well. Super. Typically I do say these things are smooth, because these days on the controllers with the glide rings you get a very, very smooth glide, but this with the metal on the sticks is just ridiculously smooth. Full metal tactile buttons everywhere, bumpers, the ABXY, the D-pad, all feel super crisp. And we've got the motion control support for all platforms, and you've seen the gyros working there on the Switch as well. And again, 1000 Hz polling rate, super lightning fast. So you're playing your racing games or probably your shooters more importantly, you're going to get very, very precise control because this thing is polling at an incredibly fast rate. So any questions in the comment section below, please. If you've enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up. Really appreciate the support. And again, if you haven't already done so, please hit that subscribe button in the bottom right hand corner, because as with this one, more controllers are on the way. I'll see you in the next one.